We must set out agreements and principles that allow us to resist the song of the sirens in the future moments of desperation. And I want to propose 2 key principles as foundational as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or the First Amendment. The first one is that when a computer receives conflicting instructions from its owner and from a remote party, the owner always wins. Systems should always be designed so that their owners can override remote instructions, and should never be designed so that remote instructions can be executed if the owner objects to them. Once you create the capacity for remote parties to override the owners of computers, you set the stage for terrible things to come. Anytime there's a power imbalance, expect the landlord, the teacher, the parent of the queer kid to enforce that power imbalance to allow them to remotely control the device that the person they have power over uses. You will create security risks, because as soon as you have a mechanism that hides from the user to run code on the user's computers, anyone who hijacks that mechanism, either by presenting a secret warrant or by breaking into a vulnerability in the system, will be running in a privilege mode that is designed not to be interdicted by the user. If you want to make sure that people show up at the door of the distributed web asking for backdoors till the end of time, just build in an update mechanism that the user can't stop. If you want to stop those backdoor requests from coming in, build in binary transparency. So anytime an update ships to one user that's materially different from the other ones, everybody gets notified and your business never sells another product. Your board of directors will never pressurize you to go along with the NSA or the Chinese secret police to add a backdoor if doing so will immediately shut down your business. Throw away the Oreos now. Now, so long as we're on it, let's throw in the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. This is the act that says that if you exceed your authorization on someone else's computer, where that authorization can be defined as just the terms of service that you click through on your way into using a common service, if you do that, you commit a felony and can go to jail. Let's throw that away because it's being used routinely to shut down people who discover security vulnerabilities in systems. And that second principle should be just that the security of systems that we rely upon should never, ever be illegal. We can have normative ways and persuasive ways of stopping people from disclosing recklessly. We can pay them bug bounties. We can have codes of conduct. But we must never, ever give corporations or the state the legal power to silence people who know true things about the systems we entrust our lives, safety, and privacy to. These are the foundational principles. Computers obey their owners. True facts about risk to users are always legal to talk about. And I charge you to be hardliners on these principles, to be called fanatics. If they're not calling you Puritans for these principles, you're not pushing hard enough. If you computerize the world and you don't safeguard the users of computers from coercive control, history will not remember you as the heroes of progress, but as the blind handmaidens of future tyranny. The internet, this distributed internet that we are building, the re-decentralization of the internet, if it ever succeeds, will someday fail, because everything fails, because overwhelmingly things are impermanent. What it gives rise to next is a function of what we make today. There's a parable about this, that the state of Roman metallurgy in the era of chariots determined the wheelbase of a Roman chariot, which determined the width of the Roman road, which determined the width of the contemporary road, because they were built atop the ruins of the Roman roads, which determined the wheelbase of cars, which determined the widest size that you could have a container that could move from a ship to a truck to a train, which determined the size of a train car, which determined the maximum size of the space shuttle's disposable rockets. Roman metallurgy prefigured the size of the space shuttle's rockets. Not entirely true. There are historians who will explain the glosses in which it's not true, but it is a parable about what happens when empires fall. Empires always fall. If you build a glorious empire, a shining city on the hill, as former governor of California liked to talk about, if you build A good empire, an empire we can all be proud to live in, it will someday fall. You cannot lock it open forever. The best you can hope for is to wedge it open until it falls, and to leave behind the materials, the infrastructure that the people who reboot the civilization that comes after ours will use to make a better world. A legacy of technology, norms, and skills that embrace fairness and freedom and openness and transparency is a commitment to care about your shared destiny with every person alive today and all the people who will live in the future. Thank you.